Finally! I'm done talking about crappy adult comedies. That'll give me some time to work on other stuff, like that big Family Guy video. Well, you know, at least until Chicago Party Ant comes out. Wait, what do you mean it's already out? How's that possible? No, it's not fair. I've got to work on the Family Guy video. There was time now. That's not fair. They're here. Oh, Mark, Chicago Party Ant came out, so, you know, where's the video? You'll get your stinking video. Chicago Party Ant is a brand new adult animated comedy that released on Netflix the other day. It caused quite the stir online, not because of anything the show itself did, but because of its advertising. See, it was being bragged about by news sites how this is a series based off a Twitter account created by created by Mike Wazowski. Jod Barron, god damn it. Created by some people, okay? There was a kitty, that name's easy to say. At first when I read this headline, I thought it was pretty neat. Like, hey, that's gotta be encouraging for people. Just put your stuff online and maybe someday the right person will see it. And who knows, maybe you'll be the next Seth MacFarlane. But upon further digging, people found out the creator already had a job working at Netflix, so, you know, he's already got his foot in the door. And upon further digging, people also found out that the Twitter account was made when the concept was already decided to be turned into a series, meaning they pulled this whole stunt just for the sake of a nifty headline. There's not much definitive proof towards that last one being 100% true, but honestly, I believe it completely. I can imagine they were working on the show when Netflix thought of this cute little angle to pull, to give people the impression that anyone can make it. I doubt we'll ever find out if that were truly the case, but it doesn't matter anyways. If the show is good, then the show is good, fake marketing stunt or not. The show is not good. And it really sucks, because unlike a show such as The Prince, I can actually see hints of quality in this one. Like, it's just mostly a train wreck. So while we go over it today, I'll be sure to point out where the series manages to get me invested. But be warned, that is very rare. Wait a minute, I live in a place where I cannot watch Chicago Party Ant. Oh shucks, guess I can't watch it after all. Oh no. But Mark, why don't you just install Atlas VPN so you can watch it there? What? Oh yeah! Especially with their huge 3-year deal for just $1.39 a month with a 30-day guarantee. Now I can just use Atlas VPN, the tool that encrypts your data and hides your virtual location by connecting to a VPN server. I can also insert my email address to scan the internet and see if I ended up in any data breaches, which I can track and get notifications for on any device. And of course, most importantly, I can get past the dumb geo restrictions on all these streaming sites such as Netflix, Disney Plus, and Amazon Prime to watch hundreds of exclusive shows not available in my region. Oh look, there's Family Guy, that'll definitely be useful to me. Simply open the application and connect to the country with the library you want to unlock. Like for me, America. Like I mentioned before, Atlas is currently running a huge discount on their 3-year deal for just $1.39 a month with a 30-day money-back guarantee. It won't last long, so be sure to check it out by clicking the link in the video description below. And thanks Atlas VPN for sponsoring this video. So just what was so important about this show that they had to create all this hype about? Chicago Party Ant stars Diane. She's recently just gotten separated from her boyfriend and is living alone in an apartment owned by her sister that she's about to be kicked out of. The first episode is nothing but her narrating every single thing going on. She never shuts the fuck up. This is until her sister's son decides that he's going to take a gap year from college in order to find himself, and so it's settled that he's going to stay with his wacky Chicago Party Ant. Honestly, the best thing about this show is their relationship together. It's not a joke. The talk they have outside is the only good part of the entire first episode. For the most part, their dynamic is pretty natural, and you can tell she cares about him. It did a good job at showing that she wasn't this heartless woman who only wants to party. She genuinely cares about her family, but just doesn't show it a lot. I like that idea. I just wish it were at all explored in the next 7 episodes. I gotta say, Diane was not as irritating as I thought she would be, however. The first episode really did not do a good job at introducing her, because she is nowhere near as annoying throughout the rest of the series. Honestly, this cast of characters overall aren't terrible in the slightest. They're not good, but there was none of them I find unbearable, such as in The Prince, where I find everyone fucking annoying. I liked the nephew character a lot. I don't remember his name and don't care enough to look it up. And Diane's son was also pretty likable. Under some talented writers, this show could have been pretty good. The main thing that the series feels to do is be entertaining for anyone outside of Chicago. I don't live anywhere near there, so 99% of the references are lost on me. And since she already lives there, she doesn't need to introduce it to anybody. They just lazily have her narrate the beginning to establish where they are, and there's really no other word for it. Lazy. How about she just has her nephew not live there already, so when he moves in, she can introduce him to all this stuff, therefore, introducing the viewer. They begin episode 2 by having her laying drunk and asleep on the couch, with her narrating about how drunk she is. Like, I've heard of show don't tell, but this series shows and tells, which is just awkward. Like, no shit she's drunk, I have eyes. None of these stories apart from one ever really do much to captivate me in their world. I watched this entire show yesterday and I literally cannot tell you an episode's plot. They've all just blended together in my mind, because none of them stand apart from one another. Again, apart from one. There is one single good episode in the series, and it's episode 5, the Halloween special. In this one, Chicago party aunt wants to just get fucked up and have a good time partying, and so doesn't want her snooty boss to come with her, while her nephew wants to let loose and kiss a guy. Also, might I add that this show actually has some of the best gay representation I've seen in an animated series. There's never really much attention pushed on it like, oh my god, you're gay? I really thought they were gonna do that with his mum, but no, everybody already knows it and treats it like normal. It's nice. But anyways, Chicago party aunt picks up her boss's phone after his mother called and lets her know that he was at a gay bar, with this creating conflict because he hadn't come out to her yet, and she genuinely feels bad about this and tries to make it up to him. This is the one episode of the show that convinced me that it wasn't beyond saving. It could have been good, because the ending to it is really sweet, with him forgiving her because he knows that she didn't have bad intentions. I think this resolution comes a little too quickly, like these moments are only a minute apart from each other, but still, it feels like this series could have tackled more realistic issues like this, with its more grounded setting. But it just chooses not to and focuses on being your standard adult comedy. I never once laughed at a joke in this show, but I also never cringed at any of the humor. And surprisingly, I think that may be worse. Because it means that for the entire 3 hours of sitting through this, I remained completely stone-faced and was begging for the pain to end. The one thing that kept me entertained watching was being able to pause the show every minute and look at how they fucked up on the animation. Having to work on this show during lockdown must have contributed a ton to how messy it feels. It's one of the worst I've seen on Netflix, that is no exaggeration. For one, her sister, who's a main character by the way, she's in like every episode, is clearly recording from home because of COVID, and it's way too obvious to tell. Something definitely should have been done to fix up her audio.
You're thinking about renting out the second room, Bonnie? You gotta tell me. I keep my wet clothes in there.
She's not moving in. She stages apartments.
I can appreciate how they tried to be a little more visually interesting than a lot of other adult comedies airing. Like, the angles and shots are pretty varied for the most part, rather than just having the same flat angle as every other show. But the budget and time restraints must have been super limiting, because there's so many fuck-ups in the animation. For one, the lip-syncing is truly dreadful at many points. Half the time the words the characters are saying isn't being conveyed through the movements.
North side, a little better. A lot of work and money has been put into it. That makes sense.
There are even points where characters are speaking but their mouths don't move.
Oh, you didn't sign it, Tits McGee.
And the amount of times where it's obvious that a rig is breaking is just super apparent. Like here, there's either one of two possibilities. There was no model for her in this outfit, so the animator had to quickly throw together a makeshift one on the fly, causing it to look bad. Or two, they did make a model, and it just looks bad. What's wrong with your legs? And the background perspective is really terrible at times. For one, I can't tell if these crooked lines are intentional half the time. And even still, there are many points where the perspective is completely off, and it's definitely not intentional. Like, look at this hallway, it's going up at a slant. Look at this Funko Pop. There's nothing wrong with it, I just thought it was funny that someone drew it in. Again, I can't blame them too much because working from home must have been pretty tough to get adjusted to, but I can't help but point out how truly messy and rough this show looks. And that's not even to mention the fact that it's 2021 and we're still getting shows made with that crappy bootleg Family Guy art style. I don't know. I didn't want to go into this completely shitting on Chicago Party Aunt, because again, behind all the shit I can definitely see hints of a decent show. It's better than The Prince at least. And I'd actually recommend you go and watch the Halloween episode I talked about before. It's not amazing, but for this show standards, yeah, it's alright. Just seems like I needed to break away from being like every other adult comedy airing now, and form its own identity. And no, taking place in Chicago does not constitute as its own unique feature. So alas, the wait continues for the day these Family Guy clones die. I could probably make a follow-up to that video at some point. But for now, I think I'm done with all these crappy adult shows. I'm sorry for the past 3 uploads, it really was not intentional. But I've got other shit to talk about in the meantime. I'm just glad to be done with these adult comedies. Alright, now back to watching all 300 episodes of Family Guy. There's no end to this.